I was halfway through a client demo, explaining why the firewall rules weren't the villain of the story, when the apartment went soft around the edges, the way it does right before a storm. You know that hum? The fridge, the ceiling fan, the tiny hiss of the espresso machine. Every sound suddenly felt too loud for the little box of a place we'd picked together. So if you check that left pane, you'll see the traffic is clean, I said into my mic, cursor circling a graph. 4 faces nodded in their little zoom squares. The cat shot past my feet like a gray torpedo. Talia was in the kitchen behind me, just off camera, whispering into her laptop. She had the "I'm in marketing" whisper, bright, breathy, like a commercial for a perfume I couldn't afford. I didn't think much of it until the whisper became a sentence that swung like a bat. He has no clue we moved in. My cursor froze over the graph. The little blue circle kept spinning. Nobody on my call noticed. They were too busy pretending to understand packet inspection. But the room shifted, and my heart did the thing where it misses the step between 2 floors. "Can you scroll down, Nathan?" a client asked. "Yeah," I said, voice steady. My hand wasn't. I played it back in my head like an old voicemail. He has no clue we moved in. No clue. Moved in. We. Talia laughed softly in the kitchen. A cork popped. "Right," she said. "No, the building is quiet. Mostly couples. He thinks I'm on a brand call later. We'll do it after 8. 8 what? 8 boxes? 8 lies? And that's why your alerts spike on Tuesdays," I continued to the grid of faces, and even I believed me. My throat felt lined with dust. From the corner of my eye, I saw her. One elbow on the island, wine glass in hand. Laptop propped on a cookbook like a makeshift tripod. The afternoon light used to make her hair look like honey. Today, it looked like a warning sign. "Run the drill down one more time?" my client asked. "Absolutely." I zoomed, scrolled, breathed. Behind me, a cabinet door clicked shut. Her voice dropped to that conspiratorial purr. "He'll never catch it. He's mid-sprint all week." A chair scraped. I turned a fraction, careful to keep my shoulders squared to the camera. Talia's screen showed a man's jawline, clean and precise, like a blueprint. I couldn't see his whole face, just the edge of a smile and a living room wall behind him. Neutral art. Expensive taste. "Adrian, seriously," she said, laughing again. "Stop. He's home." The graph on my screen blurred. The blue circle spun. "Cool," I heard myself say. "Let's take a 5-minute break, folks. Be right back." I killed my camera, muted, and slid the chair back. The wheels squeaked. One of those domestic sounds you never notice until it becomes a flare. I stood slow, a man diffusing his own chest, and crossed to the counter. "Hey," I said casually, like I didn't know a single thing. "You want coffee? I'm making another shot." She startled. That was new. Talia wasn't a jumper, unless there was a sale. "Oh, hey babe, I'm good. On with Mia." She angled the screen down so the camera faced the marble. "Mia?" I said, reaching for the portafilter. Stainless steel, familiar weight in my hand. "Tell her I said what's up." Talia smiled with too many teeth. "He says hi." Into the laptop. "Yeah. So anyway, the rug guy is coming tomorrow. You'll be there, right?" A beat. "Great. Love you." The espresso hissed. It sounded like it was laughing at me. She closed the laptop with a gentle click. The sound was neat, intentional, like tucking in a lie with hospital corners. I tamped the grounds with more force than necessary. "Rug guy? Office stuff." She reached for the bottle on the counter. Not the cheap wine we kept for guests. Hers, the one she called content. "We're doing a set redesign for winter campaigns." "Ah." I pulled the shot. Crema bloomed and collapsed. I've always liked small rituals. They make the day's edges tidy. Today they felt like stage directions in someone else's play. She watched the espresso pour, then watched me. Those eyes got me the first night. Bright. Mischievous. A little feral, like she might dare you to jump a fence. Today, they were working too hard to be calm. "You good?" she asked. I nodded. "Client wants a deeper dive." "Always do." She set the bottle down, leaned close, kissed my cheek. "Vanilla and something floral." "I'll be quiet." "Appreciate it." I set the cup on its saucer with a click that sounded like a nail going in. She drifted toward the bedroom, humming. I stared at the closed door after it clicked shut and kept staring until my reflection in the microwave looked like another man, one who knew exactly what he'd heard. I went back to my desk and unmuted. Sorry about that, I told the grid. Kat decided to audit my Wi-Fi. Laughter. I explained another chart with the ease of muscle memory, the kind you build when your whole job is translating chaos into neat boxes. I've always been good at that. Order, lanes, rules. That's what love is too when it's healthy. A mutual set of rules. Don't lie. Don't make me the punchline. My eyes flicked to the time. 2:38. Not 8. My mind ran loops. We moved in. He has no clue. We moved in. My name on a lease, hers on the welcome mat of someplace else. Halfway through the Q&A, a text buzzed across my screen from Mia, our neighbor, the kind of friend who borrows your sugar and returns banana bread that ruins your diet. Mia, you home? Me, yeah. Mia, you alone? I glanced at the closed bedroom. Me, not exactly. Mia, heard voices. Just check your email. Sent you something you should see. Another ping. A forwarded message. Subject line. Congrats on your new place. A real estate email chain, bright with confetti graphics. My stomach dropped like an elevator with a cut cable. And we'll deploy Friday, I said to the grid. Any concerns? No one had any, because of course they didn't. I lived in a world where everyone assumed I had it handled. When the call ended, I kept the camera smile for 3 extra seconds, then let it melt. The apartment breathed in and out around me. I clicked the forwarded thread. There it was, in clean, unforgiving font. Lease approved. Unit 5, 14. 2 names. One of them was not mine. Talia Rhodes. And the second, Adrian Blackwell. A congratulatory banner looped across the top. Welcome home. I didn't stand right away. I didn't shout. I didn't break our IKEA bar stool, though it deserved it. I just stared at the line that mattered and felt something brittle form in my chest, like sugar heated too long. Her voice floated from the bedroom. Babe, you still on? Yeah, I said, and my voice sounded like it came from a hallway. I minimized the email. Opened a folder on my desktop where I keep invoices and other proof that I exist. Pulled up our lease. My name. Only my name. She'd said she wanted to wait to combine finances until after the wedding. I'd said that made sense. We were sensible people. I stood, walked to the bedroom doorway, and leaned there like it was casual. Talia sat cross-legged on the bed, laptop open again, phone face down beside her. She startled at the sight of me, then relaxed, performed relaxation. What? She asked. Playful smile loaded onto her face like lip gloss. You're looking at me like I ate the last donut. Just thinking about the rug guy, I said. She blinked. The what? You said he's coming tomorrow. I smiled. The way people do when smiling is cheaper than the truth. You'll be there, right? Oh, yeah. She tucked hair behind her ear. Office. Warehouse. Whatever Mia sent you, don't open it. She's being messy again. I didn't say Mia had sent me anything. Talia's tells were always small. Extra words. A laugh overpacked with air. I had missed them because I wanted to. I stepped in, sat on the edge of the bed. The mattress dipped and our shoulders tilted toward each other like a habit. You okay? Of course. Her eyes gleamed. You? Better than your mute button. A hitch. The smallest catch in her breath. If she were a network, that would have been the blip right before the outage. She laughed. Too light. What's that supposed to mean? I looked at her laptop, at my reflection in the black strip beneath the camera. Eyes I didn't recognize. Nothing, I said, and the word tasted like a lie, which felt on theme. I stood and left before the room could collapse. Now, I ain't no TikTok guru, but when your fiancé forgets to mute her mic while planning a Wii in an apartment you don't live in, that's not a glitch. That's divine tech support. Hit that subscribe button. Keeps the Wi-Fi paid and the petty revenge stories flowing. Back to the mess. I finished out my workday like a surgeon with shaking hands. Steady on the outside, disaster humming under the skin. Every sound in the apartment wore a name tag. The clink of her spoon, lie. The buzz of her phone, proof. The soft thud of her footsteps toward the door, exit strategy. At 5:07, she kissed the top of my head and said, "Heading to the warehouse to prep. Don't wait up." "Copy that," I murmured to my keyboard. The door clicked. Silence ballooned. I stood, crossed to the window, watched her cross the courtyard with her tote, one I'd bought her in a tiny shop off Peachtree because she said it made her feel like a person with a plan. She walked like she was already living somewhere else. When she turned the corner, I moved. Not frantic, methodical. I checked the apartment the way I check networks. For vulnerabilities, for truth. Hall closet, boxes labeled winter and old books, and, tucked behind them, a roll of moving tape and a folder stamped with the real estate company's logo. Kitchen drawer, an extra set of keys on a new ring. Bedroom dresser, a Polaroid tucked under a t-shirt. Talia, and a man with that same blueprint jawline. Adrian, white walls, neutral art. I didn't smash it. I didn't even flinch. I put it back exactly where I found it. Then I sat on the edge of the bed, the place we promised each other a life in whispers, and stared at nothing until the room finally told the truth. I picked up my phone, thumbed open a new note, and typed 1. Lease, Unit 5, 14. 2. Adrian Blackwell. 3. He has no clue we moved in. 4. Router. The list steadied me. Plans are bridges. I needed one. My laptop chimed. Mia again. Mia, you saw it? Me, I saw enough. Mia, want me to say something? I looked at my reflection in the black screen and saw a man I recognized again, calm as a loaded quiet. Me, not yet. I have a call to join. I set the laptop on the kitchen island, angled it toward the good light, and opened Zoom. The meeting link from earlier, the one in the "congrats on your new place" email, gleamed in the thread, careless and bright. I clicked it. The waiting room pulsed. A breath. 2. Adrian's face filled my screen first. Clean, crisp, the kind of handsome that reads like an investment. "Talia," he said, smiling toward his camera. "You back?" "Almost," I said, and unmuted. "Don't worry. I won't take long." He froze, the kind of stillness that says a brain's buffering faster than it can process. His face stayed polite for half a second, then flickered, like bad Wi-Fi. Who's this?" he asked. I smiled, the way IT guys do when they're about to fix something permanently. "Oh, sorry. Nathan Cole. You must be Adrian." The name landed like a code execution command. His pupils shifted, jaw tightening just enough to confirm everything I needed. "Talia's not here right now," he said, trying to sound bored. "This is a private lease meeting," I finished. "Yeah, I got the email." I leaned back, giving him the calm stare of a man who's been betrayed in HD but refuses to lag. "You should really password protect your happiness, buddy. People like me..." I tapped my headset. "We hear everything." He opened his mouth to reply. Then Talia appeared in the doorway behind me. The world went silent again, except this time it wasn't peaceful. She looked from me to the laptop and back, like watching two browser tabs load at once. "Nathan, what are you doing?" "What am I doing?" I repeated softly. "I'm joining the meeting. You said it was at 8. Her face drained of color. She stepped forward, palms out, like she could physically erase what I'd already seen. "You don't understand." "No," I cut in. "I understand perfectly. You've been running 2 accounts. One for your fiancé, one for your landlord/boyfriend. Multi-factor betrayal." "Please," she whispered, eyes glassy. "It's not what you think." That's what all corrupted files say before they're deleted. I glanced at the screen. Adrian's face was half hidden behind his hand now, probably realizing that charm doesn't come with tech support. Talia moved closer, voice trembling. "Nathan, listen. I messed up. I stood slowly, calm as a reboot. Don't worry. You'll get plenty of time to explain. To him. I reached forward, clicked the trackpad, unmuted her mic, and turned the screen so she could see herself beside Adrian. Her reflection appeared, mascara cracking, mouth open, like she'd forgotten how to lie mid-sentence. "Say hi to your roommate," I said. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. The silence was louder than any screaming could have been. "Go ahead," I added. "Tell him I heard the part about moving in. The part about the rug guy. The part where you called me background noise." She swallowed hard. "Nathan, please, don't." "You already did." I turned to the laptop one last time, looked right at Adrian. Meeting adjourned. Then I ended the call with a single click. The screen went black. She stood frozen, tears building, but never falling. "I didn't mean for it to get this far," she whispered. I laughed quietly, shaking my head. That's what everyone says when the software crashes. Should have backed up the truth sooner. Her voice cracked. "We can fix this." "Can we?" I gestured around. "You built a whole new life inside mine. That's not fixing. That's malware." She reached out like she wanted to touch my arm. I stepped back. "Don't," I said softly. "Just don't." Then, without another word, I walked to the counter, unplugged the Wi-Fi router, coiled the cord, and tucked it under my arm. Her tears finally came, but they were too late to download sympathy. Now, I ain't no relationship guru, but if your fiancé's Zoom call comes with a bonus boyfriend and a moving truck you didn't order, that's not working from home. That's auditioning for eviction. So go on, hit that subscribe button. Keeps my router plugged in and my sanity barely stable. Back to the heartbreak. I opened the door. She called after me once. My name. The one she'd said like a promise for years. I paused long enough to look back at her, one hand on the frame. "You know the best thing about my job," I said quietly. "I can always tell when someone's trying to cover a bad connection. The silence gives it away." Her sobs filled the space behind me, soft and hollow. Then I stepped into the hallway. The sound of the door closing behind me, sealing the moment like a timestamp. I didn't look back. Not once. The router was still warm in my hand, a perfect little symbol of everything she took for granted. Connection, trust, the illusion of being safe online and in love. I carried it to my car like a trophy and set it gently on the passenger. As I drove off, the streetlights blurred in the windshield, and I realized something simple. Some people think closure comes with answers. It doesn't. It comes with logging off before you lose yourself trying to stay connected. And me, I was finally offline. You ever notice how silence feels heavier when someone owes you the truth? It's been 2 days since the Zoom call. 2 days since Talia's unmuted mic turned my relationship into a tech support nightmare. And yet, she still moved around the apartment like nothing happened. Hair tied up, coffee mug in hand, humming to that same lo-fi playlist she used when she worked on brand decks. The audacity smelled like vanilla creamer and lies. I hadn't said a word since that night. Just observed, quietly, patiently, like a man waiting for a software update he knows is about to brick the whole system. That morning, she came up behind me while I was making breakfast. "Babe," she said softly, "you've been off. Everything okay?" "Yeah," I replied, flipping an egg. "Just debugging." She frowned. "Debugging what?" "Trust issues." Her smile twitched. She thought I was joking. I wasn't. She set her mug down, leaned against the counter. "You know, if something's wrong, you can talk to me." I looked at her, the woman who could sell sincerity like stock options. "I will," I said, "once I figure out which version of you I'm talking to." That shut her up. Later that afternoon, while she was in the shower, I sat at my desk and opened her laptop. I didn't have to guess her password. It was the same one we used for Netflix. Cute, right? Inside, a folder labeled Brand Assets. Inside that, another folder named New Beginnings. Inside that, photos. Dozens of them. New condo. New furniture. Her in a sundress I'd never seen. His arm around her waist. Fingers grazing her hip like he'd paid rent for the privilege. The walls were white, the art abstract, and taped to the fridge, a note in her handwriting. "Don't forget to call the movers." I laughed. Loud, sharp, humorless, the kind of laugh that scares even you. When she got out of the shower, steam rolling through the hallway, she smiled at me like she didn't still have lies dripping from her hair. "What's funny?" she asked, towel around her shoulders. "Oh, just this hilarious bit where you move in with another guy and forget to tell your fiancé." Real knee slapper. Her body stiffened. "Nathan." "Save it," I said, standing. "You're muted again. I can't hear the truth." That night, I started packing small things. Not mine, hers. Her favorite wine glass. The one that said, "Boss Babe." The plant she swore she kept alive herself. She didn't. Her framed photo of us from last summer. The one she used to post with captions like, "My Forever, +1." I wrapped each thing carefully. Because if I was going to watch my life collapse, it was at least going to look organized. Now, I ain't no therapist, but if you ever find yourself packing your fiance's things while she's on a late night Zoom, that's your sign you've been promoted from partner to unpaid moving crew. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Keeps the heartbreak funded and the Wi-Fi strong. Back to the chaos. By midnight, she came home smelling like new paint and guilt. She looked surprised when she saw the boxes. "What's all this?" "Early start," I said. "You like moving, right? Figured I'd help." Her lip trembled. "Nathan, please." I cut her off. "Tell me one thing. Does he know I'm still paying for your half of the rent?" Silence. The kind that echoes. That's when I realized she wasn't sorry. She was cornered. "You can go," I said quietly. "Take the keys. Take whatever's left. Just don't take my peace." She didn't argue. Didn't cry. Just looked at me, the way someone looks at a house they've already outgrown. Then she whispered, "You'll regret this," grabbed her tote, and walked out. The door clicked behind her like punctuation, and for the first time in weeks, the apartment finally sounded like what it was. Mine. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I missed her, but because my brain wouldn't stop replaying her voice. "He has no clue we moved in." That line echoed like a pop-up I couldn't close. Every time I tried to drift off, I saw that condo, the shiny new one from her photos. I saw his arm around her waist, his smile like a man who thought he won something permanent. I stared at the ceiling until sunrise, realizing that love wasn't blind. It was just really good at ignoring red flags if they were arranged like home decor. Around 8 a.m., I brewed my coffee, logged into work, and decided to treat heartbreak like malware. Quarantine, analyze, and remove. First step, check her email history. She'd left her laptop behind, and lucky for me, Talia never believed in logging out. I found the condo lease within 5 minutes. Adrian Blackwell and Talia Rhodes, Unit 514, signed last Thursday. There was even a welcome packet PDF attached. Free gym access, pet policy, Wi-Fi credentials, password, Forever Home 2025. Cute. By lunch, I'd gone from devastated to methodical. Pain has this funny way of sharpening you, like it wants to make sure you're precise when you cut ties. That's when Mia texted, "Maya, you okay?" Me. Define okay. Mia. You want me to key her car or just watch you burn her online? That's friendship right there. No sorry or how are you holding up? Just options. I didn't answer right away. I was already halfway down a rabbit hole, searching property records, verifying names, matching dates. The guy she'd been moving in with? Adrian wasn't some random fling. He was her ex-boss, the one she quit working for last year after creative differences. Apparently, the creative difference was me. When Mia came over that evening, she brought takeout and a look that said, "You're about to do something stupid, and I'm here for it." We sat on the couch surrounded by half-packed boxes. "You gonna confront her?" she asked between bites of lo mein. I already did. "And?" She left. Good. So what's next? That's when the plan started forming. Not revenge. No, that was too small. Retribution. See, people like Talia think they can juggle lives without dropping one. I was about to make sure she learned gravity still works. Now pause, because this is the part where half of you are probably screaming, "Just move on, man." Sure, Easy to say when it's not your Wi-Fi, your rent, and your reputation. She turned into a group project. So while you're judging from your single life safety bubble, smash that subscribe button. Keeps my therapy bill covered while I tell you how not to date a walking red flag. Back to the chaos. By morning, I'd gathered everything I needed. Proof of her lies, the lease, the photos, screenshots of her emails bragging about starting over. I sent one message to her and copied Adrian. Hey, congrats on the move. Don't forget to update your emergency contact. I'm no longer available for lies, loans, or love. P.S. The Wi-Fi's under my name. Enjoy the silence. Then, I cut the power to our shared account, canceled the autopay, and forwarded her corporate email chain to HR. Adrian's name was in half of them. Office relationships are tricky, especially when one of them is engaged. I didn't need to shout. All I had to do was hit send. By evening, Mia texted again. Mia, they're freaking out on LinkedIn. Me, that was fast. Mia, yeah, apparently HR loves screenshots. I laughed. Really laughed this time. It felt foreign and right, like breathing after holding my breath for months. When the apartment got quiet again, I poured myself a drink, looked around at the boxes, and realized something. I wasn't the one who lost anything. I was the one who finally saw clearly. Talia built her little fantasy life on stolen stability. My credit, my rent, my patience. She wanted freedom without consequences. Now she had both. That night, I wrote one more line in my notes app, under the others I'd been keeping since that first mic slip. She taught me the difference between trust and convenience. And damn, that was a lesson I'd never forget. You ever reach the point where you're not angry anymore? Just done? That was me the morning I decided to end the broadcast for good. No shouting, no crying. Just the stillness of a man who'd already read the final script and realized there wasn't going to be a rewrite. I woke up to a voicemail from Talia. Her voice was raw, like someone who'd practiced sincerity in front of a mirror and finally ran out of tears. Nathan, please call me. You don't understand what really happened. I didn't mean for you to find out that way. I just needed time. Needed time? She'd had plenty. She just used it building someone else's future on top of mine. I deleted the message, made my coffee, and opened my laptop. If she wanted time, I was about to give her all the time in the world. Without me in it. By noon, I'd transferred everything. Utilities, auto payments, subscriptions, out of her reach. Netflix, Spotify, Hulu, all the digital fingerprints that used to say, us, gone. It felt symbolic, like deleting a ghost from a system that never stopped haunting you. Then I packed her last box, the one labeled Kitchen Misc. Inside, I slipped a single note. You were always on mute when it mattered. Mia stopped by while I was sealing the box. She leaned on the doorframe, sipping a Red Bull like she was watching a season finale. Closure looks good on you, she said. Feels expensive, I muttered. You sure about cutting her off completely? Yeah, I said, taping the lid. She already disconnected herself. I'm just catching up. Around 3 p.m., I drove downtown to drop off the spare keys at her office. The receptionist gave me that polite smile people reserve for exes who look too calm. Dropping these off for Talia, I said. She nodded, took the envelope, and placed it in the personal items tray, right above a familiar letterhead. Adrian's company logo. A cease and desist notice. Guess HR moved faster than I thought. Karma's not always a boomerang. Sometimes it's a well-timed email thread. That night she showed up. Not knocking. She still had her old entry code. When I heard the lock click, I didn't even flinch. She stepped in, eyes red, clutching her phone like a lifeline. Nathan, please, can we talk? I stayed sitting on the couch, arms crossed. Sure, just remember, you're on speaker. What? I turned my phone around, showing her screen recording. If we're gonna do this again, I want the truth saved in 4K. Her jaw trembled. You can't be serious. Oh, I am. You documented every lie. I'm just keeping the brand consistent. She tried to laugh it off. Old habit. But it cracked halfway. I messed up, she whispered. Adrian, he doesn't even matter. It was stupid, okay? It was just supposed to be temporary. Yeah, I said quietly. So was us. She stepped closer. I can fix it. No, I replied, standing. You fix things you break by accident. You burned this on purpose. I walked to the counter, unplugged the router again. Same motion as the first night. Where are you going? She asked. Out, I said. And this time, you can pay your own internet bill. Her voice cracked. Nathan, please, don't do this. I paused at the door, glanced back once. You already did. Then I walked out. Ever notice love's a lot like Wi-Fi? Works great until someone else logs in behind your back. Then suddenly, you're lagging, buffering through excuses you didn't sign up to stream. So do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Keeps my signal strong and my heartbreak's funded. Back to the mess. I drove with the windows down. The wind loud enough to drown out the memory of her voice. The city lights blurred like long strings of data I didn't need to read anymore. When I reached the bridge, I stopped halfway, stepped out, and threw the router into the river. The splash was small, but the silence after was perfect. That's how I knew it was over. Back home, I poured a drink and sat in the dark. No music, no notifications, just peace. Clean, unshared bandwidth. I opened my journal app and typed the last line for the night. Sometimes disconnecting isn't running away. It's finally logging out of someone else's chaos. It's strange. The things you start to notice once the noise is gone. The hum of the fridge, the way sunlight creeps through blinds at 6:47 a.m. The fact that peace doesn't need an apology to exist. It just needs space. 3 weeks. That's how long it's been since Talia walked out of my apartment for the last time. She texted twice. Once to say sorry. Once to say she hoped I was doing okay. I didn't answer either. I wasn't angry anymore. Just finished. I moved to a smaller place across town. Cheaper rent. Better coffee shop downstairs. No shared passwords. No toothbrushes that aren't mine. The landlord asked if I wanted to set up autopay with a second name. I laughed. Maybe too loudly. Let's just keep it simple, I said. There's freedom in simplicity. I used to think love was about building something together. Now, I know it's about making sure the foundation doesn't crumble when the other person walks away. One night, I got curious and looked her up. Not because I missed her, but because closure has a bad habit of Googling itself. Her new address popped up. Same condo. Unit 514. She'd posted a photo. Her and Adrian, fake smiling at a rooftop dinner. Caption, "New beginnings are just disguised blessings." I stared at it for a full minute. Then I smiled. Really smiled. Because for the first time, it didn't hurt. I just thought, you can have the view. But I kept the peace. Mia came by that weekend. She dropped a new router on my counter and grinned. "Fresh start," she said. "You sure you want me back online?" I asked. She laughed. "Yeah, but this time, set a password she can't guess." So I did. Password. Moved on, 2025. That night, I sat in my new living room. One lamp, one glass of bourbon, and a silence that didn't feel empty anymore. It felt earned. The kind that comes after you finally stop trying to fix things that were never built to last. I opened my laptop, created a new folder, and named it Lessons Learned. Inside, I wrote the last line I'd ever dedicate to her. Some people teach you love. Others teach you limits. She taught me both. I closed the lid, leaned back, and let the quiet do what it does best. Heal. You ever realize peace doesn't come when they apologize? It comes when you stop needing them to. If you've ever had to rebuild after betrayal, you already know. Silence isn't empty. It's bandwidth for better things. What would you have done if you caught your fiancé lying mid-Zoom? Would you log off quietly or wave before you disconnected? Drop your take below. And if you've ever had to hit leave meeting on someone who stopped showing up for you, subscribe for more twisted truths, more messy goodbyes, and maybe a reminder that sometimes logging out is the happy ending.